7 News, on your side at 6 a.m.
The man suspected of killing a young Baltimore CEO has been arrested. We are live where the manhunt ended late last night and what police are saying this morning.
Also breaking this morning, a mass shooting in the district. 5 people shot. We are live with the latest on the search for suspects and answers.
New rules of the road in one Maryland county. 7 News is on your side with what drivers need to know.
Metro says its new gates are making a difference in stopping fare evaders. Are those new taller gates really working? 7 News is on your side, finding out. Good Thursday morning to you, Washington. Almost near the weekend. I'm Adriana Hopkins.
And I'm Melanie Hastings. Great to have you with us. We've got traffic and weather always together. Britt Waters is covering the commute. And we get started with Eileen Whalen and that forecast looking very nice out there, but chilly.
Yes, it is. In fact, it is the coolest morning so far this season. 56 degrees at Reagan National. The lowest we had gotten to prior to today was 58 degrees. But if you think that's low, take a look at some of our western suburbs. Montgomery County, Gaithersburg, 48 degrees. It's 46 in Martinsburg, 44 in Warrenton, low 50s outside of the Beltway. So a chilly start this morning. Grab the jacket. And guys, wow, we got a lot of sunshine yesterday, more than I anticipated, but I was fine with that. Clouds, they're rolling back in. And later today, this afternoon and this evening, there is a chance for a passing shower or drizzle. So I'll show you our hourly forecast so you can better plan your Friday Eve coming up. But to the roads we go. Britt, what are you watching for us?
Well, it's easier for me to track traffic now because SkyTrack 7 is back up. Because of all the rain we've been dealing with, couldn't send the chopper up. Now we can, so they are tracking just a little bit of a slowdown there. But elsewhere, South Saratoga Avenue, northeast, we got a closure. It's because of police activity. If you pull up on there around 14th Street and Channing Street northeast, you will see those flashing lights and that closure point where you cannot access. Elsewhere, Prince William County northbound I-95 starting to get a volume delay. That's right. It's about that time where a lot of people are hitting the roads. Dale Boulevard to 123, taking you 11 minutes just to go that 4-mile distance. Why? Because things are slowed down right here in our cameras near the Prince William Parkway, down about 31 miles per hour. They're using their brakes. They're used to it. Just pack your patience this morning. I'm back in less than 7 minutes with traffic and weather together.
Britt, we start with our breaking news now. And a manhunt for the suspect in the brutal killing of a Baltimore tech CEO ends overnight in Bowie.
U.S. Marshals took Jason Billingsley into custody at the Mark Station. Our John Gonzalez is there live with more on the arrest.
Adriana, good morning. This convicted felon suspected of killing Baltimore Tech CEO Pavel Lapierre has been arrested. He is now in police custody this morning. This is where it all went down. Here on the campus at Bowie State University is where the Mark train station is located, and this is where U.S. Marshals tracked him down late last night. For days, Jason Billingsley had been on the run, described as extremely dangerous. He's suspected of murdering the 26-year-old Baltimore woman in her apartment. Just hours before this arrest, family and friends last evening gathered with dozens of mourners for a candlelight vigil. Lapierre was the CEO of Baltimore-based startup EcoMap Technologies. Police have not released a ton of information about this arrest that went down last night, but say that more information will be announced in a news conference at 11 o'clock this morning. The 32-year-old is also suspected in a separate case of attempted murder, rape, and arson last week. In fact, it occurred about a mile from the building where Lapierre's body was discovered. According to court records, he pleaded guilty to first-degree assault in 2009 and second-degree assault in 2011. He also pleaded guilty to a first-degree sex offense in 2015 and was sentenced to 30 years in prison with 16 months served. Billingsley was released from prison last October. He had not been paroled, we understand, but was released on, quote, mandatory supervision. Acting Police Commissioner in Baltimore, Richard Worley, told reporters earlier this week during the manhunt, this individual will kill and will rape. He will do anything he can to cause harm. Billingsley now in police custody, and again, we hope to learn more in just a few hours. Reporting live in Bowie, John Gonzalez, 7 News.
Also breaking overnight in the district, the search for suspects after 5 people were shot, 2 of them killed. This happened near the intersection of 14th Street and Saratoga Avenue in Northeast. A 3rd victim found there and taken to the hospital. Police say 2 others took themselves to the hospital, and 1 of them is listed in critical condition.
We do have officers in areas where we find, based on evidence and data, that there's high crime in those particular areas, and we will continue to do that.
Our Joy Wang is gathering new information on this shooting and the search for suspects. We'll check in with her coming up at 6:30. It has been a rough year in the district already, at least 211 homicides. D.C.'s homicide rate is now higher than Baltimore. And this is the first time since 2017 that D.C. has topped more than 200 murders in September. It is also the 3rd year in a row the district has hit more than 200 homicides. Acting Police Chief Pamela Smith spent several hours yesterday during her confirmation hearing answering tough questions on the city's rising crime rate. She says crime in the city is a top priority as she seeks to assume the role permanently.
We have not given up. We have not run out of ideas. We will continue to strengthen our relationships with our partners, federal, local, and state, and strengthen our relationships with our communities, our residents, our businesses. We're just getting started.
Another roundtable is planned for later this fall. An exact date has not yet been set. After that, the committee will make their decision on Smith's confirmation. Of course, we'll keep you up to date every step of the way.
I'm Lindsay Massis at the Alert Desk, and we got a late night update on the condition of a man pulled from a house fire in Laurel. We now know the man rescued from this fire has life-threatening injuries. We were on scene as fire crews battled flames that were shooting out of a 2-story home on Lexington Avenue. Fire officials are still investigating the cause. We'll keep you updated when we learn more.
And now covering Montgomery County, the county executive signed the Safe Streets Act into law. And this morning, there are new rules of the road that you need to know about. It adds more time at the crosswalks for people to get across the street. It also bans right turns on red at busy intersections in downtown areas. And the measure will also add more speed and red light cameras. The council unanimously passed it last week to help reduce deaths and injuries on county roads. More than 400 people have been hit by cars in the county this year. 11 of them have died.
New numbers from Metro show those new taller gates aimed at stopping fare evasion are working. But 7 News has found those gates may be a little less effective than Metro's figures reveal. The new taller gates were recently installed at 10 stations, including Congress Heights. Metro says the percentage of fare evaders at Congress Heights has dropped from 52% to 5%. 7 News reporter Tom Rousey went there and found those figures may not be completely accurate. That's because people who go through or over the fare gates, they're counted. But we saw a man who climbed along the side, you see him right there, of those gates, and that does not set off the alarm.
Well, the Anacostia Watershed Society is out now with its annual State of the River report card. And the news is not good. The river gets an F. Some of the factors that were considered: dissolved oxygen, chlorophyll, and water clarity. And another factor is one that you could help alleviate if you live near the river. That's storm water runoff.
On your own property, making sure that you're not, dumping chemicals or paint or any sort of household stuff into your local storm drain, because that eventually ends up in the river.
And despite the failing grade, the president of the Anacostia Watershed Society is optimistic. He says fishing and swimming in the river by the year 2025 remains in reach. To read the full report, go to WJLA.com and search Anacostia River.
Well, at 6:08 this morning, starting off with a little sunshine once the sun rises in just about an hour. Temperatures, though, chilly in the 40s and 50s now. This afternoon, we'll get into the upper 60s, so still below average. But enjoy any early sun because it is going to be overcast through the afternoon and evening. Dry this morning, but with a little bit more of an easterly wind, a little bit more moisture in the atmosphere. Later this evening, an isolated shower or even some drizzle possible through the overnight hours and even tomorrow. But really want to emphasize emphasize how low these rain chances are. Big weekend as we get ready for the World Culture Festival. So starting Friday night, temperatures in the mid-60s, maybe an isolated shower, but Saturday looks great after morning clouds. We break out into sun, 74, and look at that, sunny and 80 degrees on Sunday. So we'll look ahead to some of our live cameras and the 7-day forecast coming up. But Britt, I know that this event is going to cause a lot of closures. I've heard like what, millions of people coming into DC?
500,000. That's how many people signed up. And they're already readying the roads. Closed already 4th Street between Jefferson Drive Southwest and Madison Drive Northwest. And that's going to be closed until October 5th at noon. So we got to get used to this stuff. More closures coming in, happening from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily. And then October 1st, more from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. Madison and Jefferson will be closed between 14th and 3rd. More details on all of this at WJLA.com. And if you're like, how do I get out the door today? Capitol Beltway. Here's what it's looking like over in Prince George's County. Skytrack 7 giving you a look at that slowdown there. You're not the only one headed to work this morning, so expect volume. And Prince William County, 95 northbound Dale Boulevard to 123. Also seeing a slowdown, speeds down to the teens there near the Prince William Parkway. Taking the rails, I'll check on that in my next report. I'm back in less than 7.
Another drawing without a winner. The Powerball jackpot is now up to an estimated $925 million. It is the 4th largest prize in the game's history. The odds of winning it all, 1 in 292.2 million. The next drawing is Saturday. If you're playing, good luck.
The U.S. soldier who defected to North Korea just got back to the United States. I'm Lindsay Mastis at the Alert Desk with what we've learned.
And we're breaking down the big moments from the second debate of the GOP presidential hopefuls. We'll also hear from the one candidate who did not show up.
And a live look outside. It's another cool start, but we will see some sunshine this morning. The First Alert weather team is tracking a warm-up for next week.
I'm Lindsay Mastis at the Alert Desk. I am following a developing story, a video now showing the U.S. soldier who defected to North Korea has landed in the U.S. Take a look. Private Travis King has landed in San Antonio. He'll be taken to the Brooke Army Medical Center there. And what we've learned this morning is that he was handed off from North Korea to the U.S. ambassador in China. A Swedish convoy is the one that had to bring him over the Friendship Bridge on the border between North Korea and China. That's when he was taken into U.S. military custody. Well, he flew to Shenyang, China, to an Air Force base in South Korea, and then boarded the plane for the U.S. We're going to continue to keep you updated on his whereabouts as well as his condition once we learn more.
And this morning, we're hearing from King's mother, and she says she will be forever grateful to those who helped bring her son home. He'll face serious questions now that he's back in the U.S. His family says they were worried about his mental state even before he fled to North Korea.
He just called and he just screamed, "I'm not the Army soldier you want me to be. I'm not the Army soldier you want me to be." And he kept screaming that out loud. And then all of a sudden the phone hung up.
King was with a tour group when he ran into North Korea in July. Officials say North Korea got nothing in return from King's release.
Last night, the race for the White House got heated as 7 of the top Republican candidates all elbowing each other for the second presidential debate. But finding one bit of consensus over one claim. They all say President Biden is to blame for America's economic struggles. There was also harsh criticism aimed at Congress. The candidates all attacked lawmakers for a potential government shutdown, and some said if Congress can't pass a budget, they shouldn't get paid.
The people in Washington are shutting down the American dream with their reckless behavior. They borrowed, they printed, they spent, and now you're paying more for everything. They are the reason for that. They have shut down our national sovereignty by allowing our border to be wide open. So please spare me the crocodile tears for these people. They need to change what's going on. And where's Joe Biden?
Well, they said Trump was part of the problem alongside President Joe Biden. The candidates were battling hard to throw each other under the bus.
I honestly, every time I hear you, I feel a little bit dumber for what you say.
Donald Trump hides behind the walls of his golf clubs and won't show up here to answer questions like all the rest of us are up here to answer. He put $7 trillion on the debt. He should be in this room.
The third GOP debate will take place in Miami, Florida on November 8th. Meanwhile, former President Trump again skipped out on that debate, and he was working to draw eyes away from it. He toured an auto parts facility just outside Detroit and blasted President Biden's trip to Michigan yesterday, saying he is the one to blame for the strike.
Yesterday, Joe Biden came to Michigan to pose for photos at the picket line. But it's his policies that send Michigan auto workers to the unemployment line. He only came after I announced that I would be here.
The UAW has yet to endorse President Biden for the 2024 race, but Union President Shawn Fain stood by his side during that visit. Fain criticized Trump, saying he cares more about the billionaire class. A reminder now, in-person early voting continues in Virginia. Every seat in both the House of Delegates and the state Senate are up for grabs. Early voting runs through November 4th. Election day is November 7th. 7 News on Your Side has a list of polling locations and a breakdown of the biggest local races on WJLA.com/election.
Happening tonight, the final supermoon of the year will rise, and a 7 News photographer captured this beautiful video of last night's full moon glowing over the DMV. Now, if you missed this week's supermoon, you're going to have to wait until September of 2024 to catch the next one. And what a beautiful moon it was. It caught my attention as I came in this morning. Yeah.
I'm glad we had the clear skies to see it, Eileen.
Oh my gosh, me too. And if you want to read more on the final supermoon of 2023, it's all part of our latest weather blog. It is the harvest moon in all of its splendor. And in fact, this is a time lapse starting at 4:30 showing the moon set. And we've had a few clouds, but also some clear skies. And that's what's allowed for temperatures to drop so low. Clear skies right now in Germantown. We've got overcast skies, though, right now in Fairfax County around Dulles Airport. You can kind of see as we're tracking a little bit more of that return flow, what we kind of call from what was once Ophelia. By the way, I know it's crazy that we're still talking about it, but we'll get more of this onshore flow. So you're going to start to see more of those low clouds. And eventually later today, we might have a little bit of some patchy drizzle late this afternoon and into the evening hours. So keep that in mind as high temperatures get into the upper 60s. Tomorrow morning, starting off cloudy, not quite as cool, around 60 degrees in D.C. 71, a lot of cloud cover, maybe an isolated shower. I'll show you our futurecast here coming up within 7 minutes. But for those Friday night late football games, anything you have planned Friday night, I think for the most part, skies are going to be partly to mostly cloudy. So you'll again see that moon. Temperatures, though, quite cool. And then heading into the weekend, that's when our weather pattern really starts to change as that area of low pressure moves out of here. So we'll have morning clouds Saturday with afternoon sunshine. We'll get up to 74. So maybe you're going to be joining Veronica Johnson this event downtown as well Saturday morning. The walk starts at 10 o'clock. And again, temperatures will be in the mid 60s with clouds. But again, brighter through the afternoon and evening. And your Sunday looks gorgeous. After a cool morning, we get up to 80 degrees. And look at this first full week of October, at least getting started. Sunny and temperatures above average in the upper 70s to lower 80s. Look at your futurecast, Britt, when I see you next.
Thanks, Eileen. And it seems like perfect football weather this weekend. I'm excited for that. And it's not too bad to walk to the rails right now. Metro updates you can always get on your 7 News sticker on the side of your screen. But right now, all lines that are open are currently on time. Same for the MARC train. VRE, check it if you're on the Fredericksburg line. We got delays on trains 302, 304, and 306 up to 20 minutes. That's a game changer in the morning when it comes to getting there on time or being late for work or school. SkyTrack 7 over the Capitol Beltway still showing some volume building, but no huge incidents there just yet. Northbound 995, we do have a slowdown over in Prince William between Dale Boulevard and 123. How slow we talking? Well, speed's down about 24 miles per hour near the Prince William Parkway. Longer stretch, still under 30. That's your traffic watch.
Well, something happened in baseball last night that's never happened in the game before. We're going to show you the moment.
Well, another recall for certain Hyundai and Kia vehicles. I'm at the alert desk with more on a fire hazard.
And a live look now at the U.S. Capitol. Lawmakers, they are running out of time to reach a deal on a budget and avoid a government shutdown. Coming up next, we're finding out if there's been any progress.
Start this half hour with breaking news from overnight. A mass shooting in the district claimed 2 lives. And Joy Wang is live near Saratoga and 14th Street this morning. And Joy, it's been almost every day this week. You're either talking about gun violence or covering gun violence.
Yeah, on Monday morning, we were talking about the well-known former basketball star who also died. And then Yesterday, we were talking about Acting Police Chief Pamela Smith, how she'd be answering a number of tough questions when it comes to violent crime in the district. And of course, this morning, we are now at another scene. As you mentioned, a mass shooting, 5 people shot, 2 of them now dead. And it is still very active, even though it's been 8 hours since police first responded to the incident. We're zooming in to the intersection where all of this happened. And we do want to mention, you're not seeing evidence markers there anymore, but they were there in that last hour. In fact, my photographer, Mike Rudd, saying he zoomed into a number that said 69. So a lot of evidence gathering here. And just above, as we pan that camera farther up, we are also seeing a security camera, and that actually belongs to MPD. To give you an idea of just how big this scene still is this morning, this intersection not only closed off, but also extending 2 blocks down from what you're seeing right here. Let's get you now, though, to some video on how the scene looked last night and get to some information about the victim's conditions. Again, you can see that huge response here at Saratoga and 14th Street Northeast, with officers closing off a few blocks, then expanding the area as they continue that investigation. Now, Acting Chief Pamela Smith said all of this happened just before 10. Officers responded to sounds of gunshots and found 3 people shot. 2 of them were dead. The 3rd taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. But moments later, 2 other men showed up at the hospital, also with gunshot wounds. Investigators say they were also injured in this shooting, then took themselves to the hospital. One of them in critical condition, the other will be okay. When asked what MPD will do and why these shootings keep happening, here's what the acting chief had to say.
I feel frustrated too. I mean, even though these are residents that live in this community and they deserve not to have to be in a community where guns are constantly being in this space, and that there's crew on crew or disagreements or beef where people are bringing guns to the fight. My suggestion and my recommendation is that some of these folks know who they are, come to us, let us know, and so that we can really help them in this space.
And as you just heard, MPD, they are looking for anyone with information, video, photos to come forward, saying someone in the community has information on what happened here last night. Also, we do want to mention, when asked about why this is happening, Acting Police Chief Pamela Smith, she also said there's more access to guns. And this morning, more than 8 hours after that incident, we are still seeing investigators on scene with their flashlights continuing to gather that evidence, and the street still closed off. Live in Northeast, Joy Wang, 7 News.
Joy, thank you. Breaking news now out of Bowie. And while you were sleeping, U.S. Marshals arrested the suspect in the murder of Baltimore Tech CEO Pava LaPere. Police caught up with Baltimore resident Jason Billingsley at this MARC station in Bowie. On Monday, police found LaPere beaten to death in her apartment and quickly named Billingsley as the suspect. Now, he has a long criminal record. It includes sex offense, second-degree assault, and robbery. He was sentenced to 30 years in 2015 for first-degree sex assault, but was released early in 2022. Our John Gonzalez is working now to learn more about the capture, and he'll have those details for you in just a few minutes.
The latest now on a classroom crisis impacting Loudoun County. The trial of former school superintendent Scott Ziegler. Day 4 of that trial begins this morning, and we're expecting to hear from at least 5 more witnesses. In this case, Ziegler is accused of unlawfully retaliating against a special education teacher after she testified before a grand jury. She complained that a student inappropriately touched her on numerous occasions. Ziegler later fired her. Yesterday, a school board member testified that Ziegler silenced her at a meeting when she asked why the teacher was let go.
I answered honestly and truthfully every single question that was asked of me.
Ziegler's lawyers want to prove the special education teacher was let go for other reasons. Meanwhile, Ziegler, as you'll recall, was fired by the school board back in December. He's also facing another trial. In that case, he's accused of lying about details of at least 2 students being sexually assaulted in different schools by the same student. His attorney claims misconduct from prosecutors. A judge recently unsealed a redacted version of the county's independent investigation into both assaults. You can read that report right now on WJLA.com. It's in our Crisis in the Classroom section.
Only on 7 News, we are hearing from a grandmother who was hit by stray bullets while inside her townhouse in Dumfries, Virginia. Now, this incident happened back in April. Patricia Morton was home with her 2 young grandchildren when bullets flew through the windows. She was shot 4 times. On Tuesday, Morton met with the first responders who saved her life. They shared a meal and they posed for some photos.
Well, the latest on the potential government shutdown, Congress appears to be on a collision course with a Saturday midnight deadline. That is when federal funding for the federal government will officially run out. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says he plans to hold votes on several spending bills. But the reality is those likely won't get bipartisan support and likely won't even get enough Republican votes to pass.
And I'm Lindsay Massis at the Alert Desk. I reached out to several U.S. representatives and senators representing D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, and I heard back from several, including Congressman Steny Hoyer, who represents more than 80,000 federal employees. So he says that there is time to avoid a shutdown, and he's pointing to a spending deal with the president that was reached months ago and says that would be one way to avoid what he calls catastrophe. Now, D.C.'s Representative Eleanor Holmes Norton says a provision that she got included during the last fiscal year will be keeping the D.C. government from shutting down. And she's telling Congress that they should look at D.C. as an example of fiscal responsibility because she says the city has balanced its budget and has a surplus. Now, I'm planning to head to the Capitol today. I've been there for shutdowns and reopenings in the past, and I'll keep you updated.
All right, Lindsay, thank you. Late night shows are making a comeback now that the Hollywood writer's strike is over. Jimmy Kimmel Live will have new episodes beginning Monday. The writer's strike officially ended early Wednesday following a unanimous vote from Guild leadership. The tentative agreement that was reached Sunday night with the major TV and film studios still needs to be ratified. D.C. residents say they are fed up with the worsening rat population as more rodents swarm their neighborhoods. 7 News has told you about rats gnawing through trash cans and infesting a school playground at Ross Elementary. But what is causing this population boom and what actions can you take?
We have to go back to the pandemic when we were shut down and the city was closed, the restaurants were closed, the rats migrated to the residential areas. So what happens is that people, they don't use the garbage disposal as much as they should. You know, they don't wash those containers out. And by us being home more, we are producing more trash.
Well, Brown says his overall message to those who have had enough of rats scurrying around the alleys of D.C. is to work with the department and call 311.
Happening tonight, you're going to get a chance to watch some of your favorite former commanders in action, all while supporting the men and women of the Capitol Police Department. This year's congressional football game will be played at Audi Field. Now, this showdown will feature members of Congress, Capitol Police officers, and former NFL pros. Former commanders Fred Smoot, Ken Harvey, and Santana Moss will be playing, just to name a few. Even Commanders President Jason Wright will be lacing up his cleats. This game is benefiting the Capitol Police Memorial Fund, Boys and Girls Club of American and Military Kids. One of the coaches for the game, former defensive back John Booty, says that being Republican or Democrat does not matter on the field.
There's no greater sport, I think. Basketball is great. Soccer is great. Baseball is great, but when you're coming together as a team, there's no better team effort than coming together as playing football as a team. Because everybody has to be that piece of the puzzle, that live chess match, to be on the same page to win football games.
Now, kickoff is at 7:25. You will need to purchase a ticket, and we have all those details for you at WJLA.com.
And if you're heading to that game, you're going to notice it's going to be dark. The sun now setting before 7 o'clock and also adding to the darkness a lot of cloud cover. So enjoy any little bit of sun this morning. We get into the upper 60s. So we've been well below average, but our pattern is going to change as we head into the weekend and the first few days of October. Look at how much of the country will be warmer than average. And as you're making those weekend plans, guys, I do want you to be prepared for some clouds Saturday morning, but it will be dry. Afternoon sunshine still a little below average at 74. Sunday, though, absolutely beautiful after a cool, crisp morning. A nice warm afternoon with lots of sunshine. A really nice start to October. I got the 7-day forecast in my next report, Britt.
Thanks, Eileen. Skytrack 7 is headed to I-95 in Virginia. Got some reports of a slowdown there. Right now, Prince William Parkway, left shoulder remains blocked. If you're traveling northbound after Nokesville Road, because there was a crash there. But like I said, it's over on the left shoulder. Stay to your right. Even do a lane over if you feel like you need to, but you can get by it without too much of a delay. Right in Prince William County, also having volume delays, though, from Dale Boulevard towards 123. We're seeing speeds as low as the teens, 15 miles per hour. Not so great near Prince William Parkway, but we're used to this. We see this every morning. Saratoga Avenue in the district still to closure because of police activity between 14th and Channing Street Northeast. I'm back in less than 7 with traffic and weather together.
Coming up next here, the latest on the 2 breaking stories that we're following.
First, a major league pitcher hit in the head by a 92-mile-an-hour drive is sharing his recovery story. And it's just one of the stories coming up. 10 away on GMA.